After a year of trial operation, the world's biggest automated container terminal was officially put into operation right here in Shanghai in December last year. Instead of an army of workers, the job here is entirely done by machinery, including bridge cranes, auto-guided vehicles, and rail-mounted gantry cranes. And the machinery is entirely controlled from afar. I'm Xinhua News Agency correspondent Wu Xiyao reporting at the Shanghai Yangshan Deepwater Port. And this new automated container terminal is actually part of the Yangshan Port. And today I'm going to explore around this port and tell you why it is important for connecting trade between China and the rest of the world. Located on the south of the Donghai Bridge, which is actually one of the longest cross-sea bridges in the world, the new automated container terminal is actually the phase 4 of the Yangshan Deepwater Port. And this new addition covers the area of about 2 million square meters. And it has a shoreline stretching about 2,350 meters. So this year, after its official operation, it is expected to handle about 3 million standard 20-foot shipping containers. But starting from next year, which is the year of 2020, the number will be doubled. That means it is expected to handle about 6.3 million such containers annually. As the new terminal is completely automated, so not a single person is required in this whole process of like loading and uploading, unloading containers around there. So thanks to automation, it just slashes labor cost by 70% and boosts handling efficiency by 50%. And also because workers are no longer need to drive big trucks to taking containers back and forth, so this whole process is also greener. From up here, we can see, although it's rainy and cloudy today, we can vaguely see a sea of containers lying up here in the dock. And those numerous red cranes are ready to grab and swing them onto the load, onto the ships bound for every corner of the planet. But to ensure, you may be wondering why we are here instead of at this Terminal 4, Phase 4 of the Yangshan Deepwater Port, because to ensure a smooth running of the automated container terminal, we're not allowed to walk around and stand there to show you the details. But today we're very glad to include Mr. Lin Junbao, the general manager of the Shanghai Shengdong International Container Terminal, the operator of the Phase 1 and 2 of the Yangshan Port, to give us more details about the port. 您好，那个林总，今天非常高兴能接受我们的采访。我们想知道一下，这个洋山港的4期，它是个全自动化的码头，那么是多长时间建成这个码头的呢？
大概用了3年时间，从2014年的12月到2017年的12月10号，它投入运行的。
I've just asked Mr. Lin about how long did it take to build the Phase 4 of the Yangshan Port, and Mr. Lin said it takes 3 years from the 2014 to 2017. 那么我想知道这个洋山港4期它是一个全自动化的码头，那么这个工人呢，以前他需要在码头上工作，现在由于全自动化，他们不需要在码头上工作了。那么他们现在要面临什么样的变化？
这个就是我是传统的码头， 那么它是一个自动化的码头，最大的区别就在于我的所有的机械上都有工人在操作的，而它因为是自动化的，只需要在控制室里做一些动作。那么对它的挑战，我个人认为就是工人的这种文化素质、这个理论知识各方面呢，可能要更强一些，而我的工人实操性更强。
I've just asked Mr. Lim because of this phase 4 of the Yangshan port is automated container terminal. So all the job down there is done by machinery. So I've asked what is the changes to the workers, and Mr. Lim just told me because at this phase 4 terminal and all the work are done by different machinery and cranes, but for the workers work at phase 1, 2, and 3, they are more traditional, and they're still need to do the laborious work at the terminal, and they just carry around the containers onto the ships. And for the workers at the terminal 4, they just need to sit on the control room, monitoring the whole operation, and that's all. 那么我们也知道，就跟这个洋山港，它其实是这个上海非常重要的一部分。它不只是上海港重要的一部分，它也是这个上海整个自贸区非常重要的。
上海国际航运中心重要的组成部分。
对。那么我们想知道，就在这个上海自贸区中，洋山港扮演了什么样的作用？
洋山港扮演了一个就是整个自贸区对外的发展，包括我们长江的经济带，包括国家“一带一路”的这种国家战略。那么现在又提了一个叫长三角一体化的这样一个国家战略。同时我们本身洋山就是上海国际航运中心的重要的组成部分，那么扮演的最实际的就是进出货物的这么一个枢纽的地位。
Actually, the Yangshan Deepwater Port is not only an important part for the Shanghai port, it is also a very important part for the Shanghai Free Trade Zone, which the city began building in 2013. So I've just asked Mr. Lin, so what is the role of the Yangshan port has played in this Shanghai Free Trade Zone? And Mr. Lin just tell me the Yangshan port is very important not only for Shanghai but also for the China's Yangtze River, because the Yangtze River in the east of China is a very important economic belt. It also plays a very important role in China's strategic like the Belt and Road Initiative, and it is just the economic core, and because the Yangshan port bring a lot of foreign products here, not only in Shanghai but also can spread to all over to China. 那么林总，我们还想了解一下，就是在我们这个去年是我们国家这个改革开放40周年，那我们国家也释放出了非常积极的信号，说要坚定的这个将改革开放进行到底。那么洋山港在未来可以扮演什么样的角色？
洋山港在未来呢，我们现在就是按照总书记的要求，长三角这个更高质量一体化发展，对吧？长三角升成为国家战略以后，我们有一个很大的举动。就是我们现在你看到的，这是我们的南侧岸线。我们现在上港集团和浙江海港集团，那么联手准备合作开发洋山的北侧岸线。那么北侧岸线是更适合于靠小的船，南侧岸线是大的船。我现在南侧的岸线实际上是有一些浪费的，就是因为我又要兼顾大船，又要兼顾小船，那么大船的这种效率实际上是受影响的。如果我北侧的岸线建好以后，那么小船在北侧，大船在南侧，就能更好的发展我们洋山港这个国际中转、水陆中转服务国家长江战略这个作用。
Last year actually marked China's 40th anniversary of reform and opening up, and the country has said the country has said that the China will reiterated its commitment to deepening reform and opening up. So I just asked Mr. Lin what role Yangshan port could play, and Mr. Lin just told me that Yangshan port is actually very important. So what we are seeing right now is the south border line of Yangshan port, which right now is to deal with both the bigger, heavier ships as well as the smaller ship. But that is kind of a waste, because this port, this south line, is more fit for docking the bigger ship. But in the future, Yangshan will develop the north line, which is fit for the smaller ship, and that will be that will be a more scientific use of this whole port, and that will be better for China's economic growth. Actually, this is a phase 1 of the Yangshan port. From here, we can see a lot of containers and red cranes. The construction of the first phase of Yangshan port finished in 2004, following which the Yangshan port began its operation. And Yangshan port is actually a very important part of Shanghai. Located on the estuary of China's longest river, the Yangtze, Shanghai actually plans to build a free trade port to facilitate trade and investment, of course. So this plan will rely heavily on Shanghai's existing facilities like Yangshan Deepwater Port. As one of the 3 major constituencies of the Shanghai port, the Yangshan has helped Shanghai port to consolidate its standing as the world's busiest container port. It will also further support Shanghai's efforts to become a world shipping center. The bigger Shanghai port surpassed Singapore in 2010 to become the world's busiest in terms of container throughput and has retained that crown since then for the consecutive 8 years. And the annual trade volume of the Shanghai port accounts for 3.2% of the world's total. As China's economic hub and the forefront of the country's reform and opening up during the past 4 decades, Shanghai has served as a perfect example in so many ways, showing the country's determination in open wider to the outside world. Taking this Yangshan port as an example, as I've mentioned, the foreign products entered this port not only to Shanghai, but spread all over China as well. And we can see these containers, they are not only bringing Chinese products to the other parts of the world, but also bring foreign products, including like consumer goods and farm produces inside China as well. As another example, in early November last year, Shanghai hosted the first China International Import Expo. At that expo, around $58 billion worth of deals were agreed for the year ahead. And this Yangshan port is also part of the Shanghai Free Trade Zone. And the Shanghai Free Trade Zone is another example of China's endeavor in reform and opening up. It is China's first pilot free trade zone set up in 2013. And so far, the country has a total of 12 free trade zones spreading in a vast land from provinces of Fujian and Guangdong on the southeastern coast to inland provinces like Shanxi and Sichuan in the west. This means the country is further opening its market and to attract foreign investment. According to China's official customs data, China's imports increased 14.6% year-on-year in the first 11 months of 2018. Although we don't have the latest figures for the whole year yet, the expected $2 trillion in imports equals the gross domestic product of either Brazil or Italy in 2017. And in the next 15 years, China expects to import goods worth $30 trillion and services worth $10 trillion. To promote imports, China lowered tariffs on an array of products in 2018, and ranging from medicines to vehicles, bringing down the general duty level from 9.8% to 7.5%. And Beijing's resolve to boost imports aim to send a strong message to the world that China is committed to reform and opening up. According to the Ministry of Commerce, lower tariffs, easier customs clearance, and improved car import policies are expected this year. Opening up has revved up in the finance sector as well. China launched the trading of crude oil futures contracts in Shanghai, the first futures contracts listed on China's mainland to overseas investors. And the foreign firms have been offered the green light to have a 51% ownership of their brokerage ventures, and foreign investment access was also eased in the insurance industry, just to name a few. So, as an example, UBS AG became the first global financial institution to take advantage of the country's new rules to gain a majority stake in its mainland securities joint venture. Another latest example, you may have heard of this, US electric car maker Tesla broke new ground with its Shanghai factory on January 7th, becoming the first to benefit from a new policy allowing foreign car makers to set up wholly owned subsidiaries in China. And the new plant is Tesla's first outside the United States. It is located in Lingang. Actually, Lingang area is not far away from here. It is a high-end manufacturing park in the southeast harbor of Shanghai. It has an annual producing capacity of 500,000 electric cars. So when Tesla's plant in Shanghai starts volume production in 2020, next year, the China-made Tesla cars will play fair with Chinese automakers as the country is scheduled to eliminate various government subsidies on new energy vehicles by that year. From tariff cuts to removing access restrictions on foreign investment in various sectors, China is speeding up in opening up. The great spirit of reform and opening up has become the most prominent hallmark of China in the modern days. And the country has made it clear that its door of opening up will not be closed, but will only open even wider. I'm Xinhua News Agency reporter Mu Xuyao reporting from Shanghai. That's all for my report today. And please follow us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for more news and special reports. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.